Hello and welcome back to Now Season 17. Season 16 was 2 months ago, and that was a cracking championship indeed. But this time around, we have a lot more cars than we have had ever. With the no pre-qualifying, it's going to be an interesting race, an interesting series that we have going on this time round for 2024. It's gonna be very fun to watch as we watch Vanbrugh do some qualifying laps. 13 minutes left of the qualifying, but with me tonight, I have Jessamy on my left, and I have Cormac on the cameras on my right. Look at the drone cam. He's got his drone back out again. He's having a little bit of fun. And my name is Ted Edwards, and it's going to be interesting to see, Jesse, with how many cars we got on here today. 33 cars. It's going to be interesting of what's going to happen and where everyone's going to be. Biggest grid since we've had since season 10, I do believe. I think we've just been under 30 cars for all the other seasons, but it's a big grid tonight. And how is Jesse anyway? How are you over there in the Americas? Bit jet lagged coming to Suzuka today?
No, it's absolutely brilliant. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Night Owl Season 17. It's a long old campaign, but we have a lot of action in store for you this winter and on into the spring just a little bit. Can't wait to get going. We ended Season 16 at Suzuka, and that, of course, means we start Season 17 at Suzuka. We've got some surprising returning faces in the crowd. We've got some excellent first-timers and even some esports legends that have shown up to take the Night Owl Challenge.
Yeah, we sure do. We've got some old faces, new faces, and reoccurring faces. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up where this time around. Last season, season 16, Timothy Flanagan took the win. The first American, I think, if you can correct me, Jesse, that has won Night Owl.
The first one that's won overall. Yeah, we had a silver champion that was American, but that was the first overall champion from America. It wasn't the first one from the Americas, but it was the first one from the U.S.
Yeah, and took that away from Daly and Conway, who are still fighting themselves for another championship win. As Harry Conway, he's had two full championship wins and two mini series wins, so we count that as three. You get two. You get one mini series, that's half. You get two. It's a full one if you like. And then Daly's had two, so Daly's trying to catch up with Conway. And there's not many people up there apart from Johnny South Island, which we have not seen for a very long time, as they've gone into the esports scene and sort of left us here. That was many seasons ago, but it's going to be interesting to see what people do. Vanbrugh with a 159.1. followed closely by Lewis Zelch, 159.2, and then Harry Conway takes top spot at this moment in time with a 58.902. So yeah, it's already hotting up, Jesse.
Certainly is. Qualifying underway here. 15 minutes of the session. It's going to take you a couple of minutes to get around this joint. Suzuka, one of the longer circuits on the calendar. And you've got to be very careful not to waste your opportunities, to not invalidate and get something on the board. 10 minutes left to go in that session. It's 5:04 p.m. here in sim time at Suzuka. Nothing to complain about for the weather, however. It is completely cloudless, a completely clear sunny sky this evening. Track's optimum. The temperature is 19 ambient and 24 on the surface itself. That is very nice indeed. And of course, no real wind to speak of. Occasionally it kicks up to 1 kilometer an hour, but that will make no difference. Harry Conway has gone to the point. It's a 158.902, and the three-time Night Owl champion in a bid for a fourth title, an unprecedented fourth title, has gone to the top of the post, racing for the newly branded K-Tech and Horseflow team this season. A lot of names have come back. Harry Conway, you talked about Daly a little bit as well. The big interesting plot point for this season for me, Ted, how will these drivers, these legendary RCI drivers, stack up against some of the pros from Asetec and Spain without the A?
Well, it's going to be difficult. I know Conway was saying the Ferrari for this calendar we've got, which I'll speak about in the race, it's not suiting it very well. Obviously, drivers don't know the calendar until this race server goes live. Oh, until the silence closed. Sorry, which closed at 8 o'clock tonight. 3 hours ago they closed. So once they're locked in, they can't change their car. Obviously, that's the whole point of hiding it. But they know what round one is. That was is as tradition with Night Owl. The last round of season 16 is the first round of season 17. It'll be the same with the last round of this season. It'll be the first round of the next one. So it's a little bit easier for the guys. They sort of know what tracks is coming next. They can get a little bit of practice down with the cars and stuff. But yeah, Conway was not very happy with the choice of calendar I've put forward. But Jesse, you like the sound of it, so I'm not sure who to listen to.
Well, I probably wouldn't listen to the guy who complained about it and immediately goes on provisional pole in the middle of quali for round number 1. But honestly, it is a great calendar that you've come up with here. For those of you that are uninitiated, Ted Edwards is not only my commentary partner here for Saturday Night Owl action, and yes, it is contractual that we say it like that, get used to it, but he also is the event manager and proprietor and the caretaker of Night Owl, has been for a very long time now, and it's sort of your project, Ted, but I just love existing in this world because we hit on some really amazing moments here. We have our favorites. This season's going to be absolutely no different. The lineup for the tracks are as this. We come to Suzuka. That's the track everyone would have known. Today, and only today, have the tracks revealed to everybody. Donington Park is where we'll be next week. Paul Ricard for round 3. Indianapolis for round 4. Alton Park in the UK for round number 5. And we end it all at the newest track in ACC, Red Bull Ring, on April the 6th. And that is a all-star calendar. It is a varied calendar, and it's one that will certainly test these drivers. Julian Vanberg goes back to P2, 42/100ths of a second, still chasing the 3-time Night Owl champ Harry Conway with a 58.640. They've made improvements of their own. Leach in third place, 3/10 of a second, I should say, behind them all. Timothy Flamger in fourth, who is 4.5 tenths, and Jordan Daly, who just set another lap there, in fifth for the moment. But Timothy Flamger has Doran has come through in the 110 Porsche to take the provisional pole position with 6 minutes to go. It's a 58.517.
That is very quick, and the only Porsche we have here to think out of all the cars that we do have. We got Jordan Bubbins in the silver class, number 65. He is driving a Porsche as well, so not the only car not only driver in that class of the manufacturer car, but I heard tonight that Daly's is chilling. He's relaxing a bit. He's not pushing too much. I think he's got something with his back. He's aching a little bit, so we might
chilling
not see
inside the top 10 in this field.
Yeah, well, we normally see him in the top 3, but I think he's gonna not be there tonight, unfortunately. But rather him race than not race at all. You still get the points as long as you stay within I think it's the top 20 if I remember rightly. This is my championship, Jesse, and I always forget the important details.
Well, of course, we'll have everything for you tonight. Of course, there is a mandatory pit stop for tonight. We'll go over that at the conclusion of qualifying. 5 minutes left to go. Still several cars at the back of this field, 30-some cars strong, of course, that have yet to put a valid lap together, not for want of trying, just an inability to keep it between the painted white lines. They will either have about one lap at this point to run a decent lap if they're in the pit lane, or they will start all the way at the back. You can see right there, Rudolph, Redford, and Schulze are the cars that have not taken a valid time thus far. 2 classes in tonight's race. You've got Pro and Silver. Pro is kind of self-explanatory of what that is. That's the top of the top, the creme de la creme, if you will. Silver are drivers that maybe have a little bit of a consistency issue, or even perhaps have a slight pace deficit, but that doesn't mean that the 2 classes will not intermingle and they won't race themselves. Though it isn't for championship points, the 2 classes separated for titles, and we will see that all season long. 2 different championships going on at the same time. Everybody chasing Doran now in that 110 Porsche on pole. Harry Conway on the outside of row number 1. Matthew Malcolm comes across the line, and it will not be an improvement. They'll stand on a 59.217, still 7/10 off the overall, but still time to get an improvement.
Yeah, sure is. And here's the 333 of Emilio for Gomez Sim Racing, and they're in the silver class. Obviously, you're thinking, why are they so far up? Well, they get to choose where they wanted to sign up this season. There was no pre-queue. I think all of us event managers aren't doing pre-queue unless it's for the World Tour or any other endurance championships that we've got going on. There will be obviously pre-queue for those, but for the weekday stuff, I think we've all opted to not do it this time around and let people decide where they want to go. Obviously, you don't want to be ending up being called a sandbagger, so you need to choose where you should be. As we see the 333 and the 108 quite up there in the silver class, so I might have to have a little bit of a digging. I know Paulio Martino is a quick driver anyway, might be just quick here, but we do know the McLaren itself is a quick car, as most of the field have chosen it, Jesse.
Certainly have. Here's Phil Roberts for Kaiju Racing, the Alton Park Dominator. They will have not known that Alton Park was on the schedule because you keep that to yourself. Not even us staff here can see that unless it's revealed to us, so he wouldn't have known that. His claim to fame, Phil Roberts, is really dominant at Alton Park. Just so happens that that's on the schedule, and he's in the same car he dominated Alton Park in a different series here. We'll have to see later on if they can keep that up, but that was an excellent improvement. Phil Roberts up to P10. The only silver car in the top 10 is Emiliano Gigi in that 333 for Gomez Racing, looking to improve here, and they do. They get 2 spots. It's a 59.105. That puts them in 6th. That'll drop Daly, Malcolm, and Huell down 1 position for the time being. But with a minute to 35 left to play, all cars out on the racetrack will have a lap here to do. They will get to complete this lap, of course, as long as it's not invalidated. Very few cars in the pit lane, probably 2 or 3, one of which the Welsh driver, Tom Roberts, in the 232 Mercedes. That car's in the pit lane. Looks like Mike Jones, who's back. He really slaps, and he's inside the top 25 just, but he's in the pit lane here tonight. Bryn Jones as well. No relation, of course, in the pit lane. Jordan Bubbins, Miranda, everybody else out there still trying to set a time. Rudolph and Redford were the only 2 cars to not set a time, except that Redford has now set a time good enough for P14. Pedro Rodriguez sets a lap and will duck back down the pit lane.
Yeah, I wonder if Harry Conway can take that top spot of Doran, Jesse. Where is Conway at this moment of time? The 28. I cannot see them. Oh, they're coming around Spoon at the moment in time, so I'm not sure if they've got enough to get round to the start a new lap, but we just have to wait and see. They are down on their fastest lap, so they're only just over a 10th off. Zoran was it? Lewis Zelch goes from 4th to 3rd, beating out Vanbrugh only by 5/1000ths of a second. That's a pretty close lap time, Jesse.
Certainly is. Here comes Harry Conway for K-Tech and Horseflow, looking to improve. Could they potentially get the 1 1/4 tenths that they need to retake pole position from Doran? He's going to get to the line, and it will not be an improvement. 2 tenths off of their fastest time, and for right now, they hang tight there on the front row with Doran. Here comes the Ace-Tech SimSport car of Zach Doran across the line, and it is not an improvement. Again, 2 tenths off of their quickest time, but it will be no bother for the visceral driver, as the American has put it on what looks to be a provisional pole. Can Zelch, can Vanbrugh, or maybe this driver, Timothy Flamger, for Alpha SimSport do anything about it? You know, Ted, I'm familiar with a lot of these drivers and teams because they race in bigger esports competitions over the year that I'm lucky enough to be able to cover. It's interesting, though, to see them all here on a Saturday night, late night, especially if you're from Europe, putting in the work, racing each other here. It's almost like it's a tune-up maybe for the big esports season.
Well, yeah, we have seen a lot of people jump in and out over the past 3 years. I think it's been now. I've used Night Owl and used other series for practice for the big events. Where does Timmy Flamger go though? He's up on his time from 5th place to stays in 5th place. Oh, that's a close lap time there, Jesse. 1:58.735. He was it was more up on his time, but didn't get it unfortunately. But yeah, the esports guys, the faster guys, do use our races just to try and improve their lines and get experience with the cars and try out their new setups. So it's pretty nice to see.
Here is the results of qualifying. Zach Doran, the American driver, driving for the 110 Porsche. They have the quickest middle sector and the fastest time overall. It's a 58.517, good enough for pole here on Night Owl Season 17 opening night at Suzuka. Harry Conway, the three-time champ, will sit opposite pole. Didn't have a quickest sector in any of the sectors. Didn't matter, though. 58.640, good enough for the front row. Zelch and Vanbrugh will share row number 2. Zelch enjoyed the quickest first and third sector, but lost considerable time in sector number 2 compared to the cars in front of them. That's why they're third. Timothy Flamger rounds out your top 5. Behind them, the first silver driver, Gigi, in 6th place over Daly, Malcolm Huell, Roberts, your top 10, Rodriguez, Schmoes, Kaneko, Martino, Kirton, Redford, Fox, Mata, Brooke, Roberts. That's your top 20. The list literally goes on. 33 cars. Kerrigan, Boss, the wheelie
cars.
slow teammates. It's 34, you're right.
But Kerrigan...
Indeed,
Sorry,
Kerrigan. I think he did that on. Neil may have done that on purpose. They may have just been running late here tonight. Kerrigan and Boss for 21st and 22nd. The wheelie slow teammates will line up together. Tom Dev, Jackson Schultze, Mike Jones, Ash Bibby, Bryn Jones, Bubbins, Miranda, Rodriguez, Lawson, Rudolph, and last but certainly not least, Neil Pimlott. 34 cars.
Yeah. 34 cars, 42 signed up, 4 signed up today. So we're only missing like at least 3 or 4 cars, which isn't too bad, especially for round 1. So it's going to be interesting, Jesse. We haven't, like I said, we haven't had this many signups for at least 6 seasons. Since season 10 was our highest one with 41 cars for the for round 1. And I have missed the days when we had this many cars. Obviously, during the COVID times, everyone was indoors, staying safe, and that's when we had a massive boom over here at RCI. And Friday Champ had like 3 servers going, Night Owl had 2 servers going, and Monday had I think 3 as well. It was a good blast, and obviously people died off from racing, and they've obviously gone back to work and stuff. So to see people come back and start driving again and sim racing is pretty nice to see.
It really is. This is typically the point where we would be showing you championship points, but seeing as it's the beginning of a brand new championship, we don't have them, so we won't show them, so we're not. What we will do instead is we will look at the chat. You guys in chat have been going absolutely crazy already, cheering on your teammates, your friends, and it's really nice to see. We love to see it. Keep that up. Don't worry about the spam. We don't care about that around here. We just care that you are having fun. We hope that you enjoy tonight's race. Of course, we're in the gridding up process right now, the final moments before they get out there on the track. All the teams will surely be changing their setups from the qualifying to the race, making final adjustments, putting the fuel in the car, doing their calculations, of course, and preparing themselves mentally at very last. Matthew Malcolm says, I don't care where I ended up. Gained a second compared to last season. Let's go. Matthew Malcolm, of course, a perennial driver here at night. Also is Mike Redford. Only got 1 lap pain. Still got up to 14th or so, Mike. Not bad at all. Callum Kerrigan's talking about the Lexus. Tom Roberts, the last car in pro. Don't worry about that. It's not where you start, Mr. Roberts. It's where you finish. RPMS has joined us, waving hello to you as well, to the entire RPMS group. Glad to have all of you with us as well. And wow, just what a night. It's a lot of cars, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that we have custom liveries all up and down this field. Some of them brand new, some of them returning from last season. Regardless, they're beautiful, lovely, hand-painted, crafted cars by a lot of these teams. We love to see it. I could swear this Alpha Sim Sport's a little bit different than it was last season. I don't know if it's the day glow yellow on that. It might be. Something's different about that car. Someone in chat asked, is it too late to submit liveries for this series? Well, for race 1, yes. But for race 2, you can change your livery essentially every single week if you really wanted to. You have to go through the review and acceptance process and follow the guidelines laid out on the Discord and the website for submitting and for livery compliance. But the long answer is no, it is not. You can submit a new livery every week. You can make adjustments to it. There is no real deadline, of course, except obviously by the time the race rolls around a few hours before, you cannot submit a livery for that particular week. But hey, could see a lot of differently painted cars in week number 2. I know some drivers, they change it on a track-to-track basis, Ted, almost like some of the real teams do. They give love back to the circuit in a way.
Sure do. I know Triple R, Mr. Harry Conway, he likes to design all sorts. He designs some for Jordan Daly, Ash Bibby, and also Bubbins sometimes. So it is nice to see people change them up, and Harry loves doing them. I feel like making his ones, and Redford, just behind this blue car. Redford, you'll see his in a second. He likes making them. He's the Kraken performance engineering car. We see that quite a lot in Night Owl, and here's Redford's. He does have one on this time. It's just a little bit one. He's got all his achievements on top of his roof.
Does he? Oh yeah, he does. Look at this.
He's got 2 Night Owls.
Yeah. Oh, I know what he's done. He used to have more on there, but he's won so much. He's done so much. He's had to only include last year's results. I see what you're doing, Mike.
Yeah, Tom Roberts saying he's slowest car on the grid. That's only because I brought back the tradition, Jesse. Don't know if you noticed. If you finish in the top 3 in silver in the season, you'll get promoted to pro for the next one, and obviously the one after that you can go back down to silver if you would like. So it's to try and force people to, if they've done really well, to go into pro and have a little go.
Is that Callum Kerrigan's new car? It is.
Sure is.
It's a Lexus, and right beside him, his buddy and teammate, bringing back the GTR. There was a Piotr Dominicus drove a wheelie slow GTR just a few days ago, and now his teammate Kevin Boss in the GTR here tonight. A Bentley on the grid, the number 99 car. Is that Aaron Jackson in that car?
It is
perhaps.
One, yes.
That is incredible, and that, ladies and gentlemen, that is an anime and another GTR. I actually think I recognize that's a Good Smile character. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely off with that, but either way, an anime, and needs no introduction. That's Ash Bibby's Transformers car.
Yeah, made by Harry Conway. Always makes a good livery, he does.
Sure does.
Few cars, but yeah. So Tom Roberts got promoted to pro. Masatoshi Kaneko got promoted, and George Barr, but George Barr isn't here this season, unfortunately. But Masatoshi up in 13th overall, would be 11th in pro, and obviously Tom Roberts at the back of pro. I think that's 14th in pro. I think there's only 14 pro cars with this today. So, you know, they've been promoted. They have a little bit of fun, see how they can get along with the faster class of cars, so they don't have to sit there for next season. They can go back down to silver, and I think Tom Roberts might do that if he's not on the pace. But you know, he's still going to be racing to silvers. There's still you know, some racing to be had. Yeah, it's not for points, but it's just a little bit of fun at the end of the day. It is now. And we just sit back and relax sometimes, Jesse. But I think this season, with the amount of cars we have, especially for round 1, I don't think we're going to be chilling too much.
No relaxing for the drivers or for us up here in the booth. If you haven't joined us ever for a RCI ACC event, let me explain something that could happen here tonight with the mass amount of cars and the nature of the racetrack we're at. There is the possibility of a restart not a restart of everything, just the race. They'll go back to the grid, and that may occur if the a third or more of the cars, typically closer to half the grid of the cars, are involved in a lap one incident. In this case, normally it's stewards, but there are no live stewards for Night Owl Season 17, so it falls down to the event manager, who we just happen to have with us in the box here, to determine if enough vehicles have been involved in a lap one crash at the same time, mind you, and that may prompt a restart. Qualifying will stand. They'll go back to the grid. We will make one attempt at a restart if it goes very badly. So, with that in place, keep that in mind. If one or two cars go scattering, 3 or 4 go scattering, that's not the biggest of deals. But if a large portion of the field are involved in a crash, it is, of course, at the event manager's discretion. They will be told to prepare for a restart. They will be teleported back to the grid, and we'll give it a second and final chance at a clean start.
And if you mess that one up, well, then you got to repair all your damage, unfortunately. But hopefully it doesn't come to that, Jesse. It is turn 1 here is a pretty big turn 1 and to turn 2, so just have to wait and see. And I think we just had someone in the pit lane has just left. So I think that was Pimlot leaving the server. So down to 33 cars. Not sure what's happening with Pimlot, but yeah, very unfortunate that he missed the qualifying. But yeah, he's a pretty quick driver, and shame that he's not going to be with us. But here we go, line up side by side.
I'm nervous, man.
Oh, it's gonna be.
We got. What are you doing, Ted? We gotta pick favorites. Do you think Doran's gonna do it? Is Zach Doran gonna win it? Is Harry Conway gonna come from the inside? Is it gonna be from Zelch or Vanbrugh? You're gonna take Conway. I'm gonna take today. Julian Vanbrugh.
Oh, yep. Interesting.
I think the winner comes from the second row, and I think it's Vanbrugh. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you with us. We hope that you have a nice, refreshing beverage. You're nice and comfy. Take the phone off the hook. We're getting ready to go for Night Owl Season 17.
Oh, I can't wait, Jesse. This is too long. This straight on Suzuka takes ages. It's not that line there. It's the one further down, as we have a few more seconds to go as we end up before we get to T1 and to T2 to see how everything goes. And it's green flag, and here we go. Oh, Doran gets a good start in that Porsche, as we see the McLaren on the right hand side of Zelch trying to take over Harry Conway on the outside. Too wide, a little bit of a bump, but nothing.
Zelch up the inside!
Oh, it's interesting. He takes the lead. Oh, a little bump in the banging. He takes the lead, Jesse. There's a calamity in the background with 2 or 3 cars. That isn't too bad. We'll have a look in a minute with our race replay. Oh, the fight up front is going to be very interesting, Jesse, as Zelch takes the lead in T2. It's something I didn't expect from second row, but you did say it'll be someone from second row who will take the lead pretty quickly.
Picked the wrong car. Louis Zelch out in front for Optimum Motorsports. He did it with a little bit of difficulty, a little bit of finger banging with Zach Doran, but he's able to get it for the time being. That was not the best start for your 3-time Night Owl champion, Harry Conway. He got stuck on the outside. There wasn't a gap for him to fall into, but in a weird way, he was almost sort of advantageous that he was in third. He was far enough behind in case something would have happened in front of them as they all cycle through. Vanbrugh holds on to fourth. Flamger is in fifth. Daly, Malcolm, Simoles, all of them now streaming single file. The one somewhat serious incident only involving a couple of cars thus far, but let's watch out. This is Spoon Corner, and of course the very next one is 130R. You worry about what may happen if you try to make a move, an ill-advised move down into the corner, but this is the rear view wing of Louis Zelch for Optimum Motorsports, who had an incredible start from the second row of the grid and just about made it in there for turn number 2. No live stewarding, of course, so any penalties you would see on your screen will be happening simply by virtue of ACC assigning penalties. Contact there between Doran and Conway. Conway looked down the inside, the door not fully open there. Realizing that, he backs out of the K-Tech Ferrari, allows Doran to continue. No real harm, no foul. And now Louis Zelch has an even bigger lead at the end of lap number 1. Oh, he's going to try it again!
Oh, well, there goes Doran by Conway, and I think that's a retirement. Yeah, it is. He's gone back to the pit lane in the garage. I think the door might come down on that car. Conway just going in too deep there. I just not really sure why. I did see Vanbrugh on the outside of Conway, and then he backed off, but there's another car in. Into the pit lane. That is Oliver Curtin and Mike Redford are in to do their mandatory pit stop, and looks like they have completed it. Jesse, would you like to know, since two of our drivers have already done it, would you like to know what they are today?
Yes, indeed. One of the other party tricks of Night Owl is the pit requirements are different for every single race. They're randomized by the event manager. Ted, what are the pit requirements here tonight?
Well, you have a 57-minute pit window, which I think opened.
It opened at the end of the lap.
Opened at the right time, with a 1 liter of fuel required, and that is it. Really, just take that 1 liter fuel. That's why the guys jumped in really early to take it. So let's have to see what they do. Oliver Curtin got stop and go 30, Jesse, for speeding in the pit lane.
Sure did. That's the first penalty of the season, and we had a little bit of a weird spell here in RCI. The last couple of weeks, we've had very few self-inflicted penalties, and not going the way for Olivier Kierten, the Belgian driver in the 111 Ferrari. As they have got themselves that penalty, they will have 3 laps to come in and serve the stop and go. It's not like a drive-through where you just pass through the pit lane. You have to come to a stop in your box for, you guessed it, 30 seconds. It is an absolute age. Doran has not retired officially, but the car was towed back to the pit lane, and they're still sitting there. So that was an inauspicious start for them. They lost the lead initially, and then the contact, and looks like the Lexus there getting scared out of the way coming through the final turn here. And I believe that's the actual name of that turn to this day. It's called the final curve or final turn. Turns 1 and 2 are just called the first turn and the second turn. Some of them quite humorously named, like the S's, they call them the snake. Some of them are just more straightforward. John Schultz for Real Supra Racing.
That was a snap, Jesse.
Was it? Let's see here. What did you see?
It just went left. Oh, Ash Bibby touched his rear end and let him snake. Look, he didn't hit the wall. He did a little tap there, but geez, I thought he lost it on his own. Obviously, from the camera angle we saw, yeah, it didn't look like there was any contact, but yeah, it was very crazy.
Close quarters racing here. Very, very dangerous when you get down into the corner. Different cars, different braking zones. Quite a scary proposition to try and do an overtake in turns 1 and 2. A car off there. I don't know if there was contact or it was just a self-spin. Easy to do that in the Dunlop hairpin. Let's see exactly what happened to Paulo Martino. Martino goes in there. And it certainly was contact. The old double tap. And he rolls the car backwards. And that is, if that does get reported, I will tell you that the stewards will not appreciate Martino rolling the car backwards up the hill.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Carrigan, that's the wrong way, sir. At least we know what car he's in, Jesse, with the big pink camouflage on the front. It doesn't really camouflage him very well, but yeah, he was backwards in spoon, so I wonder if he got stuck on braking, but we'll wait and find out for that one.
Martino, the unfortunate recipient of the spin. That's the 78 car who just went around. That is Miranda in that Mercedes. That was up in 130R. They were all the way to the inside of the track, and that might have been a long, lazy spin. That's typically how you end up. I mean, realistically, that's the outside, but for that corner, that would be considered the inside part of the corner. But Carlos Miranda for Carbon 8 Racing got it back going the right way. No further damage. I don't see any real damage on the car looking like a likely self-spin, just a little bit too much rotation coming through 130R. Timothy Flamger currently up to third. Jordan Daly has made their way inside the top 5 in fourth. Matthew Malcolm up inside the top 5. And I think Matthew Malcolm said that their goal was something like a top 5 here today. And they're certainly living that out now in the 199 Malk Racing car, as that Ferrari is in fifth. Masatoshi Kaneko, the Japanese driver, up in sixth. And Gigi has been passed for the lead in silver. Simoes is in first place. The 86 Mercedes has taken over the silver lead.
Wow, I did not expect that to happen that soon. Harry Conway and Phil Roberts came down pit lane earlier on. Didn't know if you had told that. Oh, here's the race start replay, Jesse. As we got Phil Roberts on the outside left, as Mike Redford and the Kraken of Oliver Curtin. This is why they both pit. That's just a little bit bumps and bangs at the start there. Not the car that we saw have a little bit of a hug. That was very close, Jesse.
Very close indeed. They all Constantine in effect together there, and everybody was jockeying for position. Zach Doran, who likely has retired from this race, has aired his grievances with that start. Absolutely livid with how it went for them on the opening lap. This is what happened at the exit of turn number 1. Most of the cars doing an excellent job checking up there after they realized there was an initial accident to keep that from being a bigger incident. Have I spoken too soon? This is a few turns later, up in the snake and coming up into the Dunlop curve. No, not really. That was pretty, I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't quite horrible either, as they just about get it all sorted out amongst themselves. Look at that guy, the Cave Bear driver of Mike Jones. Go back to Mike Jones, Cormac. What are you doing? Go ahead, get Mike Jones. He really slaps. Let's see him right here. The Cave Bear Racing Purple Team. Here he is for the first time in about a year or so. He's raced here at RCI. He's back in it. I saw him practicing this week. I was confused because I thought he'd retired from ACC. He got some practice in, and he's inside the top 20, Ted. Oh, as there's a Ferrari off in front, that's Tom Dev.
Sure is, and there's the 404. I think he has an error because he's going the wrong way. See what happened here? It'll be on the Degners, right, Jesse? As I would like to predict. Oh, it's on the exit. Oh, he just got too much of the grass.
Yeah, he set himself up. He was a little too deep coming in, and when you do that and you don't hit the line right, it just shoots you off. You've got to be, if anything, you want to enter that corner late, not early, and it can all go wrong. This is Mike Redford. Oh, just a disagreement of space coming into the triangle there. Gets tipped by the BMW. Mike will be upset about that. Felt like they left more than an ample amount of room there, but the contact nonetheless. Miguel Mata in the Speed.exe machine, as he's going to try and make his way through, and the Bentley in the background of Aaron Jackson, one of the Kaiju cars, goes off, but more importantly than anything, only loses about a second or so of time. Kevin Boss trying to work their way inside the top 10. This is for third in the silver class. Boss and Brooke. Boss in the GTR, Brooke in the Ferrari, racing over third. Where did Kevin Boss come from?
Well, I think it's that car, Jesse. Is Kevin's been racing a lot recently as well. He's really improved his pace, and I think the GTR got a little bit of a buff. So it is now sort of a contender with most of these cars. So look at him, he's doing really well. He's only 3 seconds away from the next car, which is the 85 of Rodriguez in 10th place in the pro category. So he's doing very well for himself. 201.5 was his best lap, and 2025 was his last lap. So it's not too bad. He's trying to hold off Brooke in the 23 Ferrari. He's got a lot of work to do though.
Oh, contact here! Brooke into the back of Boss. Luckily, he hit a GTR, and the GTR does not care about your feelings.
Well, we just have to wait and see, just to see how much damage that was, and if Kevin fixes it, because that's going to be the rear diffuser, and when you get that damage on any car, it gets a little bit slippy, and you need all the grip you can get, as I say, Jesse.
Oh, he's sliding!
I think he's
Huge
got...
slide from Kevin Boss. That allows Brooks around the outside. Here comes Mata and Huel still sideways there. How damaged is the GTR? Was Ted Edwards right on the money with that car being a bit broken after the contact? The steady start car of Brooks, that Ferrari, trying their best to make their way around them, unable to do so. If that going wide here, Raphael Huel in the confusion has been able to get the number 21 Mercedes by Mata for 13th. Keep in mind, Raphael Huel started out of position. That's a pro car. They've got to somehow make their way through the top part of the silver field, but a scary lap there for Kevin Boss for Wheelie Slow.
Yeah, I might be right with that damage, Jesse, because that was very slippery. But it could just be the tyres, who knows? It could just be Kevin's car. We're not really seen or watched him apart from the few minutes we just did, so have to keep an eye on him. Hopefully he does well, because I like to see the GTR up there in the top 15. Hopefully in the top 10 would be quite nice to see, but just have to see how we go. 47 minutes left of the race, 45.5 minutes of the pit window still to go, and only a few drivers have actually done their pit stop, so it's interesting to see the different strategies we have tonight. Obviously with the 57-minute pit window and a 1 litre of fuel to take, you don't really see a diverse strategy, because you don't need to take tyres, you don't need to take any fuel, you can just take all your fuel.
Oh, look at the super defensive line from Boss here in the hairpin. He knows that steady start car has a little bit of pace on him, and he's taking every opportunity to shut down that Ferrari. That was the most defensive line I've seen in there since somebody did that in an F1 race and got spun recently.
Yeah, strategies are different. Oh, Kevin goes wide.
Oh.
Here comes Raphael Huel on the... no, he doesn't. He's staying behind.
The speed difference here on the straight. Oh, Kevin Boss off into the dirt. That's not what you want to see. Boss up the inside of 130R. No, backs out of it. Thinks better of it. Huel plays along, falls in line with Mata in tow. Chris Brooks, I think... Wait, I may have got the name wrong. Rather besides Brooke in the steady start. I was right, it was Chris Brooke. Hey, so many cars, so many names. The steady start car of Chris Brooke up into P3 in that silver class. That was a heck of a battle, but that GTR clearly had the legs down the straight.
Yeah, it sure does. Especially in the tow, it's just charging down that straight, and I don't think Kevin really understood what was happening with the car, because he hits the rear end of the Ferrari, which is pretty funny to see. It is... Oh, this is Redford.
This is Miranda and Redford. Redford just tags Carlos Miranda there.
And does he... Oh,
and he spins himself.
I was about to say, does he give the position back? But
well, I think he did by default, because he spun himself out there.
Here's Bubbins on Bren Jones, or just moves Jones out of the way and says, "I'll take that, thank you."
Newser in chat saying that no surprise to Newser that the GTR is quick, because, and I quote here, that GTR pulls make the GTR great again. It's already looking pretty great in my mind. Top 15, could be a top 10 car here. I think just losing a little bit of grip, time will only tell how much that rear diffuser damage from the contact earlier on will play a factor for Kevin Boss and Wheelie Slow here. But just an absolutely fantastic start in the top half of the field. Couple of GTRs in the field, a Bentley in the field. Jackson in that Bentley's in 16th, one spot out of the top 15. I love it. By the way, this is default balance and performance. No tricks going on here. This is the as designed by Kuno's BOP that you're witnessing here, and all these cars still able to race against each other. Callum Kerrigan inside the Vulcan Racing Lexus, looking at the back of Rudolph for a position in the silver class.
Sure is. And I remember when that Lexus was a charger down the streets, and let's see if it still has the legs nowadays. It's in the slipstream. It is getting closer.
It's pulling.
Oh, well.
Oh, my goodness!
I wonder why he came that close. He missed his braking. by quite a mile. So I wonder if that is an off track. We'll have to wait and see. Brent Jones is in the pit lane to do his mandatory pit stop. You see there Harry Conway, Phil Roberts, Mike Redford, and Oliver Curtin in the pro category have done their pit stop. Paulo Martinho have done theirs in the silver class, and Brent Jones will join them as well. So 43 minutes in, not many cars have done it. So I do understand. I think for the pro cars, and maybe get out of the way of accidents up ahead and try and get some clean air. Obviously, Conway is now behind Schultz, so he will have to make some moves in there. Roberts is behind Bubbins. Redford's still got a 10-second gap, so it's not the worst thing to do. But obviously, when you're Conway, there you go. There's John Schultz. There's Conway behind in the new Triple R livery.
Conway's got to be careful here.
Look at these two liveries. I say the best liveries on the grid for this season so far. Let's Conway through. Very
no, he sure didn't.
I'm waiting.
You're forgetting that's a GTR. John Schultz knows that's going to outpull that Ferrari 288, and it does.
I think I found my new car, Jesse.
Yeah, that GTR, whatever they've done to it, it still has a mechanical grip disadvantage, but it has its natural horsepower back. It has a horsepower advantage down straight, and you'll see it here riding on the back of John Schultz's Real Supra #2 GTR, and it just pulls a little bit on the Ferrari, and you see it get a little bit further away. But the second that they get to a corner, the Ferrari catches all the way back up. That Ferrari does get around there, and Conway's got to be very careful, Ted, because he cannot afford any incidents. Any number of these drivers that he makes contact with could report it for post-race stewarding. He could end up dropping spots here. And if you're looking for your fourth and unprecedented fourth Night Out championship, you can ill afford to leave points on the table or give them away in the form of penalties.
Sure can, and I think John got the message of Conway wanted to come through, going through 130R, so he does move aside, which is the sensible thing to do. But yeah, that GTR, it pulls, man. I might have to jump back into that. I haven't touched ACC in a while, but with the new pack dropping with the GT2 cars and Red Bull Ring, is going to be very interesting. And the Red Bull Ring is in season 17 of now. It is the final round, a 1.5 hour race, Jesse. Going to be quite fun to see how the drivers get through. Oh, Harry Conway has a drive-through for track limits. That is
they've parked the car or crashed it in the Degners. I don't know if that is a retirement. That car is off into the barrier. That's in Degner 2. Here he comes through the Dunlop curve towards the Degners now.
Car in front is a slower car, not a back marker.
Yep, they're on the same lap. That looked fine. What in the world
he got
did we witness there?
He got the drive through the Degner 1. He cut that a lot, and then he was like, game gives me it, I'm gonna find a wall.
Well, that is a heck of a way to retire from a race, directly in the wall. Not the way that the new era for K-Tech and Horseflow would have wanted to start, was running inside the top 2 or 3 early on. And then that might be the retirement. It is the retirement of the number 28 K-Tech and Horseflow Ferrari. Meanwhile, out front, it's still Zelch and Vanbrugh, and their teammate Hobson had this to say in chat. Zelch and Vanbrugh both running P1 and P2. Love to see my fellow teammates doing well. Get ready for a hard battle. You love to see it, and thanks for stopping in with us. That was whatever happened there to the 28 was rough. Speculation ensuing, of course. But that car, I don't think we'll see a 4th Night Out championship. Jordan Daly, however, in 4th place currently. They have 2 Night Out championships. They've gone back-to-back in season 14 and 15, and they're looking for a 3rd. If Daly was able to do that, that would make 3 different drivers, Juna Savaline and Harry Conway, and then if Daly could do it, they'd be the 3rd with 3 Night Out titles. Nobody has won more. And today, looking solid, doesn't seem to have the ultimate pace of Zelch, Flamger, maybe, and Vanbrugh, but looking pretty good nonetheless. And I've just realized Vanbrugh has fallen to third. Timothy Flamger's got around. Has the 87 had a spot of bother?
Well, let's see if Mr. Cormac has anything.
Could we queue up a long replay here? See if we can see anything.
Here we
They're still in
go.
second here.
Oh,
the
hello.
car's stopping. The car's stopping in 200R. That is in 200R on the outside of the racetrack. They've had to manually reset something electrical in that race car.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I would like to know. After, obviously, we'll find out after the race. We'll have to let you know next time round if we end before we find out. But yeah, that's very interesting on what happened. And is that no? I thought it was Jordan Daly in front. No, that's the BMW of someone. There's Jordan Daly behind in the Mercedes. I think it's a back marker. Moving out of the way, very sensible indeed. But very interesting, Jesse. I've had that a few times where you have to reset some stuff, and that was quite quick for a reset, if I'm honest.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the wheel was off or something that they had been fiddling with, but they just needed a moment to stop the car to reset it. In real life, we call that Control-Alt-Delete. With the digitized way that cars work today, race cars anyway, you can just sort of manually Control-Alt-Delete, restart, if you will, and get going. But if he had a mechanical issue, maybe a brake pedal was a little off, or the steering wasn't straight, something physically wrong in the space that they race in, they may have just needed to stop, unhook something, rehook it back in. If you work with the USBs or RJ cables, a lot of times it's just as easy as plugging, unplugging. It could have been something a bit more literal that was coming unhooked, and they just needed a moment to put it back together. But sometimes you drive along and you try to digest and diagnose what's wrong with the car, and then once you figured it out, you come up with a plan in your head, you're able to figure out exactly what it was. And that was, I for the first time in my life have been correct. Hobson confirming Vanbrugh having a cable connectivity issue prior to the start, so that's exactly what it was. Just unplugged and replugged it, I bet, to figure it out. Clearly still had control of the race car, but just stopped it, unplugged, replugged, back into it, and now still in third place. So pretty nifty out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, it brings Jordan Daly within a second, but I think Vanbrugh is pulling away. Obviously, Jordan Daly's taking it easy, which if he just takes it easy, it will take home hopefully a fourth place for him. Oh, Matthew Malcolm is only 3 seconds behind though. Masatoshi Kaneko is trying to hold off the 333 of Emilio, who's right down there, neck breathing, saying, "Hello, I am here. I know I'm silver class, but I will overtake you." But they got far ahead.
Oh, Scott Lawson, the Lawson Motorsports car, has crashed into the pit wall. No doubt, trying to make it to pit lane. They were. The car behind them was unawares and tipped them into the wall.
Who was that?
It was a red Ferrari, which I know that narrows it down, or it could have been a red McLaren. One way, which also narrows it down. We have several of those in this race, but one way or another, the contact was made. Lawson got spun around. I'm being told it might have been the steady start car of Chris Brook.
Very interesting. That was. Yeah, well, I don't think they were racing for position. I think the BMW was back market. I think they're 2 laps down anyway. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make a difference. But yeah, I think I don't think Brook did anything wrong really. The BMW was quite far left, away from the pit lane entry, and it just sort of cuts across. And obviously Ferrari doesn't really have much time to react to that. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Always Ash Bibby doing
Ash
Bibby things.
Racing Tom Dev here. For
That's Schultz.
16th place. Is that Schultz?
Yeah.
That is. So Ash Bibby has just given up a spot to John Schultz in 17th place. The GTR, the Good Smile liveried car, going well. Up a spot. Bibby had a couple of sniffs, a couple of looks around 200R in Spoon, unable to do anything with it. Matthew Malcolm, the Malk Racing 199, has pitted inside the top 10. and so has Tom Roberts, who we just saw racing for Critical Success Racing, D&D reference, mind you. And correct me if I'm
Oh.
wrong, they were the last car in the pro field, and somehow they found themselves in dead middle of their class halfway through.
Sure have. You just got to keep it clean. That's like normally the aim of the game even in an hour-long race is just if you keep yourself clean, you keep your lap times consistent, then you'll make the places up on people who probably aren't consistent or end up in the little scuffles and crashes they have. You just do your own race and see what happens. If you're not too bothered about being, as we call, sweaty or more on the esports level.
Ooh, inside contact made there. Rodriguez is going to spin Sandro Simoes, the second place driver, and that will further help Emiliano Gigi drive away in the 333, who at some point earlier on had retaken the lead from Simoes. But Gigi now will enjoy, it was 6.3 seconds the gap at the last timing sector. It's going to be many more seconds than that now.
Oh, hello. Who is that?
Is that
Kaneko.
Masatoshi Kaneko?
Oh no, what happened there? That's out of spin. I'm gonna say though, the 85 Rodriguez did stop on the track and go wide in case anyone else came. So giving that position back, knowing they did wrong. Here's Kaneko.
This is exiting Spoon Curve here, and they did crash quite a long way around.
Oh, they just lose it on their own.
Oh, that's such a horrible place to be. Masatoshi could see the cars at that point and realized there was a bit of a gap there, gets it spun around, but the damage done from 6 down to 8. The good news is that they only really lost one spot in class there. Keep in mind that Simoes was in, Gigi and Simoes were both silver cars, and you're only racing for in-class honors here, so the only position Masatoshi actually gave up was to Rodriguez in that 85 McLaren.
Jesse Lee, who did you pick that you was going to think was going to win the race today?
Oh, I took Julian Vanbrugh. I thought that Julian was going to do what Julian does and storm to the front and win the race.
Can I repick?
I suppose so. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to repick, but I'd like Kevin Boss to do quite well in this race today. One, he's in a GTR. Two, that livery actually looks really good on the GTR. It suits it quite well. Funny enough, with the colours. It is a funny livery with the Wheelie Slow team. We've seen it many times in the World Tours and stuff. That's sad. The sad wheel on top is quite funny and cute.
They've got the saddest. They've got the saddest tires in the game, but some of the coolest looking liveries. They do some interesting stuff with color, of course. Usually a blue and silver affair. This car with red on it for 2024. And I've been told, not only by Newser, not only by Piotr Dominicus, but I've also been told by Kevin Boss themselves that there is a high likelihood in the World Tour, which starts in March, by the way, that they may actually enter this very GTR in that series.
Oh, that's going to be very nice to see. But yeah, so I hope Kevin does well. Obviously, we're not biased against who wins and who doesn't. We like to stay on a level playing field with everyone, but it'll be nice to see. Vanbrugh is in the pit lane, by the way. He has the Speed Juice fastest lap at this moment in time as well. Lawson, I can see on my side, has a stop and go 30, the number 11.
Speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, they are back in to do their penalty, sorry, because we did see them come in. Well, they tried to come in, then ended up in a little bit of an accident. So they are in to serve the penalty, which basically, a stop and go 30 for anyone who doesn't know, is basically a full pit stop without the tyres and the fuel. You're just sitting there. As we see Mike Jones coming down as well. Jordan Daly is not pitted yet, though, Jesse. You've got Zelch, Flanagan, and Daly in the pro categories. The only pros left pit. Quite a lot of silvers, though. Which doesn't surprise me, with obviously the pros probably knowing what to do with the strats and stuff.
Lewis Zelch has had some sort of incident here, as they have hemorrhaged a little bit of time. They should have had an 8-second lead. They've only got half of that now. Contact with the Kraken engineering car into the hairpin, and that will upset the Kraken team. And that seemed minor, but it has halved that lead. Flamger is only 3.8 seconds behind Zelsch in the 44. And those are your two leaders of the cars that haven't pitted. Matthew Malcolm, I don't know. I don't trust that. It's telling me that the Malk Racing 199 Ferrari is in front of Julian Vanbrugh for the cars that have pitted. For the uninitiated, a amber number 1 in that middle column on the scoring tower indicates a pit stop, a mandatory pit stop that they have to give. A green section instead indicates that they have satisfied the minimum requirements of pit road. Emiliano Gigi has brought the leading silver car into pit lane, the Uruguayan driver.
I have some news on Lawson. They have been disqualified for some reason. I'm not too sure how you get disqualified in the pit lane, Jesse, but
I wonder if they sped in pit lane while attempting to serve a penalty.
They've completed the penalty and then just been DQ'd due to I
have seen that one or two. What on earth is on the back of Callum Kerrigan's Lexus?
Oh, you not seen that?
I saw that, Callum. What on earth have you done to that car? Oh boy, here we go. Investigative journalism at its finest. The fly camera out the back of the car, and it's Gandalf the Grey on the back of that Lexus. I get it. You shall not pass. I like that.
Sure thing. Kerrigan still has a pistol too. Look at all those green lines, and there's poor Kerrigan. He's obviously had his few spins and stuff. Sitting down here. I think he's just going to do the long run and go towards the end of the pit window and then do his pit stop, trying to get the time back. Obviously, you don't need to take tyres, so he's not losing anything on other drivers that have pitted. But yeah, we are 26 minutes left of the race. It's sort of spread out a little bit. We are sort of having a relax. The 44 of Zelch is into the pit lane. Timothy Flamger will take the lead. I think Jordan Daly, well, the 87 is yellow flagged under the bridge. Jordan Daly does keep going as well.
Timothy Flamger brings the Alpha SimSport number 19 to the front of the field, has a pit stop to give, of course. So does every driver inside the top 10, with the exception of Louis Zelsch, who has pitted out of the lead in the 44 McLaren. And they will hopefully have a clean stop. Remind you that the pit requirement's quite simple tonight. 1 liter of fuel required. No amount of time mandatory to set in the box, as long as you have 1 liter of fuel added to the car. No pit stop change required. Hello? That looked like a McLaren backwards in the triangle. And that's usually, you get in that position with a little bit of help. But sometimes you go over the curbs, you get it all by yourself. Oh, this is some interesting driving here, as it looked like Matthew Malcolm was either getting helped or accosted down the pit straight right there. I can't tell if they're friends having a laugh, or that was sort of a message being delivered in that instance.
So it was the number 5, the car behind, as we're seeing now. That red McLaren was the one that was round in, is it called the triangle? The last corner, Jesse, I can't remember. But the 87 I saw, who was yellow flag, that's Vanbrugh. Vanbrugh had an incident. Ooh, bouncy. Okay. Had an incident underneath the bridge out of Decken 2, so I don't know what happened there.
Harry Rudolph is having an adventurous lap here. Sorry to interrupt, but Terry Rudolph for Optimal Motorsports is. I suspect the tires on that car are a bit damaged. I do apologize. Continue to tell us what happened with the 87.
I'm not too sure. I just saw they were yellow flagged underneath the bridge, and then they got going after a few seconds. But that's gonna hurt Vanbrugh if he's damaged his tires through a spin, or if he's got damage. But let's see if Cormac has any info on it. It's probably just he's lost it on his own, so let's just see where he ends up once the top runners have completed the pit stops. Vanbrugh is sitting behind Phil Roberts though, which I
Well,
thought
there you
Vanbrugh
have
was
it.
in the top 3.
Well, it was a little bit of a debate on who was going to be out first, Matthew Malcolm or Vanbrugh. Well, it might be a bit more desperate than that. Matthew Malcolm is in front of Louis Zelch, who was your leader early in the race, led the majority, if not every lap, to this point. Zelch finds himself behind Malcolm, who must have had the stop of his career. The Malk Racing car, the proud Scotsman, leads this race of the cars that have pitted. 7 still yet to do their mandatory stop. They have 21 minutes to get that done. Louis Zelch now finds himself behind another car, a car in which he has to make a pass on. And if I'm Matthew Malcolm, I'm probably not going to let this go immediately, despite the fact that there may be a slight pace difference here between these two. If I'm Louis Zelch, you got to be careful here. It's easy. Oh, is he sideways in the Dunlop curve? You got to be careful, because if you make contact with Malcolm here, Malcolm could report that again, and even if you do get back to the lead and win this race, you could lose it by default in post-race stewarding. And as exciting as battles on the racetrack are, I think we can all agree deciding races in post-race is the most boring, worst way to go about it.
Oh, Cormac just whispered something in areas about the pit stop times, and Malcolm did a 43.9. Zelch did a 1 minute point 8, and the same with Vanbrugh. He did a 1 minute point 10, 1 minute 10 should say, and Phil Roberts did a 47.9. Like, I don't know why Zelch and Vanbrugh have gone an extra 10 to 15 seconds more than the other guys.
Oh, contact there. That's going to ricochet and shoot Zelch off of the racetrack. Louis Zelch banging, grinding, and sliding to a halt down the straight after the spoon curve. Louis Zelch is backwards into the wall for Optimum Motorsport. Looked like Malcolm and Zelch came to blows after they exited spoon.
Malcolm had a slide here, and then just...
And it's a huge, horrible crash into the tire pack. And that will be day done for your leader, Louis Zelch. Qualified in third, took the lead in turn 2, and now ends his day on the hook.
Mercedes and the Bentley coming together. Carlos and I think that was Aaron Jackson. They go around the outside. Oh, hello. Carlos was sideways into T2. But yeah, that's very unfortunate from Zelch. It's just one of those things where another car loses it and pings you and then sends you into the wall. That was basically that incident there. So just have to see if they do report it. 'Cause obviously, Malcolm didn't have control of his vehicle, is what that would come under from the stewards, and that can be a penalty of what? I don't know. I'm not a steward, and like our very own Jesse Lee, but yeah, it's still, a penalty wouldn't fix that. That car is properly damaged on that front end. That would take a lot to repair with only 20 minutes left of the race. And it's basically one of those things where you go, do I continue and not get any points and just sit at the back? Or do I just retire it now and go for an early tea break?
Well, the 44 hasn't officially retired. They are sitting in the pit lane, but that car is still on the track. They would likely come out a lap or so down, but it might be worth it for Optimum Motorsports if they were able to get that car back out there. Zelch has proved themselves quite adept, and there's still 5 races after this. There's still a lot of time you could make that up. You could, honestly, a car of that pace and a driver of that stature could still end up being in the championship conversation in April. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Right now, the top 5 or 6 cars have still yet to make their pit stop. Timothy Flamger leads over Daly, Rodriguez, Kaneko, Kevin Boss, and Fox. Those cars have to make a stop. Matthew Malcolm leads the cars that have pitted. Julian Vanbrugh in second. Phil Roberts all the way up in third. We were interested in why the Optimum cars, or the Spain without the E cars, why they were longer on pit road. I can only imagine either they likely took tires when others didn't, or they were very light on fuel in comparison to everyone else taking a full fuel load. I would wager the likelihood of maybe a little bit of repairs and also taking tires, trying to gain an advantage here late in the going. And we'll see. Vanbrugh, of course, has since had issues out there on the racetrack. So has Zelsch. It's been one of those races. There's a lot of question marks here from us up in the booth. And certainly I don't think we'll have that answered here in time for the finish of the race, but likely or hopefully we'll have those questions answered by next week. Of course, still a lot of racing going on. A lot of championships just wrapped up here at RCI, but more taking their place. This coming Tuesday, if you're into Automobilista 2, well, we've got lorry racing for you on Tuesday around Brands Hatch. That's going to be a hoot and a half. Still time to sign up for that. No pre-qualifying, nothing like that. Just show up at race time and have a little fun in AMS 2. The Sebring 2 hours and 40-minute race is coming at you on March the 9th. That over on iRacing, and you're not going to want to miss that. March 9th, iRacing, the Sebring 2 hours and 40-minute race. And just announced less than 24 hours ago, RCI's 2024 World Tour. Was it 5 rounds of races starting off at the Nürburgring, and you're not going to want to miss that. Grab your teammates, grab some friends. It's the World Tour for 2024. Of course, Monday, starting up on March 4th, the Touring Car and GT4 Multiclass here on ACC, and you're not going to want to miss that as well. Rather, saw a lot of people interested in the M2 versus GT4s. I think when the opportunity arises to drive the touring car, I think a lot of people tend to respond to that. Of course, this coming Thursday, the continuation of the iRacing IMSA series live here on RCI TV as well. We will be at Laguna Seca. Actually, no, we won't be. There is a break, I think, this week. There is. So there is no Thursday stream.
There is a break.
Yeah, I always forget about that, that there is a break. So we will not be live on Thursday. We will, however, be live this coming Friday for GT2, the series finale of the ACC GT2 Championship coming this Friday. The reason I bring up all of that is because any of those events I just talked about, if that tickles your whistle, as there's been a huge accident here, Sandro Somos has made contact with Emiliano Gigi for the lead of the silver class of the cars, of course, that have pitted.
Yeah, it sure is, but let's watch this drift.
Does he save this?
Oh
my goodness!
He does, Jesse.
What a save Sandro Somos sent him. Emiliano Gigi said, no way, absolutely not, and saved it. The tires are done. Those Pirelli P0s are absolutely done. But what an amazing save by Emiliano Gigi right there. And as Ted has said, Phil Roberts has gotten themselves a drive-through for track limits.
Sure does. And I found out about, I think it was Lawson who was in the BMW, got the DQ. He thought he put his pit limiter on. I think by what he's messaged is he has it on manual pit limiter like you would in iRacing. But yeah, I think he's turned it off in the settings where you can have it on automatic. It's see there. Who was that? That's Kevin Boss going a bit wide into T1. But, yeah, it was. It was unfortunate that Lawson didn't get his pit limiter on, by the looks of it, twice by the stop and go, and then obviously the DQ, unfortunately. But he says, "Damn, lesson learned on pits. Well, on to the next." So yeah.
There you go. That's the right attitude to have. It's easy to get frustrated in a race like this. It was always going to be one of those where some were going to have a quite negative outcome, and obviously you want to limit that quite as much as you possibly can, but you can't some races it just doesn't go your way like this. Just that's an unfortunate set of circumstances there. That spins the Bentley, the Kaiju car of Aaron Jackson around, and that will further frustrate them. Lewis Zelch has joined us in chat to extend their frustration with how it ended for them, exiting Spoon Corner as well. It's
Well,
all it's all part of it, rather besides. But going back to my previous point, if you like ACC, Automobilista 2, iRacing, WRC, well, we have a race or a series for you here. All you got to do is go to the website racerci.com, join the Discord, and get involved today. Mid-season signups for all of our championships and series are absolutely allowed, and most of our series do not require a pre-qualifying currently. So jump in, get involved, race to your heart's content. We would certainly love to have you. I can't wait for that Monday touring car GT4 multi-class. I'm actually really sad that there's no iRacing this week. I'm loving iRacing currently. The races have been insane. The good news is the GT2 finale this Friday. And of course, partner, we're right back here next Saturday, live from Donington Park.
we sure are. And with the iRacing, Jesse, I blew a tire the other day.
You sure did, buddy.
I
You
know.
sure did. You blew that tire real hard.
I didn't know you could blow tires in iRacing until I found
You sure
out.
can.
Yep. Well, I did that.
It's
but
a
yeah,
lot
we'll be-
different than doing it in ACC, isn't it? It's a
very
lot different.
ACC you would know because the rear end goes down, but on iRacing it just gets really slippy, and I wonder why I was sliding everywhere.
Yo.
But
You-
yeah, we'll
Uh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I remember the first time I blew a tire and I didn't realize what was going on. I turned into the corner really vigorously because I was trying to race somebody, ended up wiping out 3 or 4 other drivers,
Oh no.
and they were mad at me. And I wasn't told until a few days later, but yeah, you had a tire go out. I was like, that's not how I'm used to it going. But
Yep.
man, you learn that lesson the hard way once for the first time. Everybody goes through that. Welcome to the club, buddy.
Well, thank you. I just want to give some shout outs to our partners here at RCI, since we haven't given any out this evening so far. Ghost Setups is a very good one to give a shout out if you want to get into ACC, especially with how the weather can be on some of these tracks. They provide expert made ACC setups for all skill levels, built by some of the fastest professional esports drivers and sim engineers. Ghost Setups provide both fully tailored esports setups as well as the safer alternative. And they also do the wet setups as well, which I've used Ghost Setups for a very long time, and John Daly has as well, and they just work. Somehow they work. We don't know how they work, but they are just wizards over there at Ghost Setups, and I would definitely check them out. Description the link is in the description below. And also Fanatec, they are a global leader in high-end sim racing hardware, from load cell pedals to direct drive bases. They strive for quality in every piece of hardware they design. And I've got Fanatec pedals, and they are solid, Jesse. They got metal, where they are really nice and comfy. Where is Ash Bibby going?
He's on a circuit safari. He paid for the racetrack, but he's going to take the grass. No harm, no foul there. Lost a spot there to Tom Dev, but they've been going back and forth all race, so I don't think that's the end of it there.
Yeah, well, you can find our Fanatec link in the description below as well. And if you use it, and we thank you very much. We get a little bit back from you using that link. You don't have to, but if you do, we appreciate it very much. Here's Vanbrugh, by the way. No, it's Flamger. Oh, Vanbrugh and Flamger. That's a little bit of a rhyme. Look, similar cars. They're not. He's not got the fastest lap, which is very surprising, Jesse. Where Vanbrugh got a 59.180. Flamger's pretty. Is it 4 tenths off with 59.5? So the only 2 cars left in this race that have hit the 59s. Everyone else is in the 2 minutes. Zelch was in the 59.4. Don't know about Conway. Obviously, he's retired. He's gone home. He's gone to go and get some food, I guess. He's had enough. Here comes Rodriguez into pit lane. I'm just saying, Jesse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you heard that. I do apologize, making noise over here. Mariano Rodriguez, the Argentine driver for Gomez Sim Racing, pitting out of 5th place here. Just a few cars have yet to pit, and I think they've made their point clear that they're going to go as long as possible to try and work some pit strategy miracles. Cars ducking out of the way at this late stage in the race as we enter the twilight hours in sim time. We started around 5 p.m. or so. It's now 6:20. The sun quite low in the sky, almost completely gone near sunset, and the track cooling off. 18 degrees is the ambient. 20 is the track temp, and that will continue in the final 8 minutes to lose a little bit of temp. That means that the cars are
Ooh.
going to likely start sliding around just a little bit more. Maybe they grip a little bit extra. You get a little extra out of it in the cooler hours. And who knows? Depends a lot on how the car is set up and what it was set up for. Some drivers set their car up for the now. Some will try and set it up for what it's going to be a little bit later on. Of course, they will have had a week's worth of practice and in similar conditions to kind of give them an idea of what to expect. And they will be making they would have made their decisions on setup based on that. Kevin Boss runs 5th, has not pitted, and has a bunch of cars that have right behind them. But this is tricky here. Just because he's not pitted doesn't mean that they can just blow by him. They've got to be careful here. How many incidents have we seen already today, Ted, with just simple passing maneuvers that have gone completely awry here? You got to keep your concentration, got to keep a level head here, as Vanbrugh has gone by Rodriguez for 6th place, and now Julian Vanbrugh looking to make the move on Boss for 5th. Boss doesn't have to get out of the way here. Vanbrugh's got to know that. Flashing of the lights, that will not do anything for Boss. Boss is completely he's not in this race. He's not in this battle with these cars. The driver that has everything to lose is that Grello-colored McLaren.
Sure does. Phil Roberts was yellow flagged in the Degner 2.
Oh, he's going for the double.
Jeez, that is... Oh, Kevin Boss is not happy. He's in pit lane. He's saying, oh, God, I've had enough. Got too much damage now. Do not speed. Oh, how close do you... Kevin, stop it. How close do you want to be? Oh, my God, give me a bit of heart attack here. That was
Ted
close.
Edwards, the parent, coming out right there. Phil Roberts on one of the one of the Aston Martin. I think that was Fox that they had contact with. And Phil Roberts goes for a spin into the dirt up in the Degners.
Here is Aaron Jackson as well with the same car?
No, wait. Was that
dear.
Fox or was that Jackson he had contact with?
No, Jackson's the Bentley, I think, right?
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right.
It is Fox. Well done, Jesse.
It was Fox. And they're both... Here's the way my brain works, folks at home, in case you're wondering how we can get it wrong up here in the booth. I associate cars with colors, not their manufacturers. Why is that? Because at a distance, it's harder to tell the manufacturer, but you can still tell the color. What did both those cars have in common? They both had purple on them. That's how my brain works. Welcome to living life as me. Cormac, I'm going to talk directly to my son real quick. Cormac, Aaron's car is a Bentley and it was purple. That Aston was also purple. They were both purple. That was the point of the story. Now go to bed.
Well, anyway, Jordan Daly is in the pit lane. Timmy Flamger.
Welcome to Night Owl!
Kineko still goes around. Divert away from family issues in the background. Yeah, oh no, anyway. Brent Jones goes for a bit of a wide line. Here comes through Mike. Oh, Mike Jones trying to go for the gap. How are they still going? What is happening? Here comes Brent Jones. Ooh, squeaky bum time. And here comes Martino, comes through just like, just take that spot away from you. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to see a replay, maybe of a different angle on that, because it's a bit of an awkward helicam there.
Yeah, Mike Jones and Bryn Jones not actually related, but Bryn goes off the racetrack there in Dunlop. Jones
across.
Tries to go up the inside, and that starts this. And Bryn just keeps their foot in it here. And Mike Jones on the outside returned the favor by, on the exit of that corner, keeping their foot in it as well. That was definitely a measuring up contest there. Halfway through that lap, a little bit of contact here. Miguel Mata here trying to hang on to 9th place. That's Rafael Huel in the number 21 Mercedes right behind him. Miguel Mata does hang on for the time being in the number 18, as close as it gets there down into 1 and 2.
Yeah, it was. I think Mike Jones was in the right line. He was on the racing line. Flamge is in pit lane, by the way. He was on the right line, the racing line, as obviously.
Wait a minute, Jordan Daly's in the lead.
Yes, he did the pit stop. He's in the lead by 30. Well, I say 13.6. Could be wrong. We have to wait until timelines and stuff. It all catches up again. Have to wait until see where Flamger is though, Jesse. He is finished his pit stop. He's coming out of the pit lane now. Where is the 197? There is Daly through 130R. Flamger is already moving. He is out pit lane. Daly is in second place at this moment in time. Obviously, Kaneko...
Daly in the triangle right now, so this is obviously not a contest. The Alpha Sim Sport car out in front.
Kaneko.
Masatoshi Kaneko comes in. Daly will get by them. Very well said, Ted, because Jordan Daly is going to come out in P2. In fact, he just did the pass now. Masatoshi will fall down the order a little bit. Matthew Malcolm might get up into third here. Malcolm was just happy to qualify where they qualified, was hoping for maybe a top 5. They might have a podium here, and they certainly do, as Malcolm up into third, Julian Vanbrugh up to fourth.
2 minutes.
As Kaneko continues. Sorry. No, I'm just trying to do the math in my head and try to figure out where some of these cars are going to come out. Masatoshi is going to come out here, and that's going to...
6th place in Pro.
That's not going to split. I was worried that might split Gigi and Simo's apart, but it won't. There's a bit of a gap there between the top 2 in Silvermind, but they come out behind, does Kaneko. They will hold on to 8th place, which in reality is, 6th in class for Masatoshi Kaneko, the driver that once was a silver driver and now racing inside the top 10 in the pros.
Well, you look at it this way. There's Flamger, who I didn't think was going to be on top spot. Well, they've just chilled out and done their own race. Here's Jordan Daly. He even told us tonight that he was just chilling out. He's got a few pillars behind his back. I think it's aching or whatnot. So he's in second place. Matthew Malcolm, I wouldn't expect to be in third, but he has picked up his pace quite a bit, and yeah, he's doing amazing as well. And you know, Vanbrugh, someone who I thought would be winning this race pretty easily. Same with probably Conway and Zelch as well, and just gotta chill out and do your own race really, and it's working.
Certainly is, as Flamger looks to win this race. The war of attrition tonight at Suzuka. If you've just tuned in now, I suggest you rewind it and watch it all the way through. It has been a race full of twists, turns, and drama. Timothy Flamger, who wasn't really on our radar tonight, he's a night owl champion in his own right, and he's looking to back that up here as Raphael Huell's going to go for a wild ride. That was a scary moment for the Group M livery number 21, but he gets it all back together. Again, a lot of tired and weary race cars after an hour of racing. And we are, of course, on the last lap of the race. The leader has just come through the hairpin as Flamger is coming through 200R now. All these cars that you're seeing, or that you were seeing, have an additional lap left to do. But here is Alpha Sim Sports, Timothy Flamger. They've gone up against Ace-A-Tech. They've gone up against many big teams, but for Alpha Sim Sport, they're continuing their long, proud tradition here in RCI of getting the job done. Let everybody else make mistakes. Let all the chips fall where they may, but be there at the end. That is the motto of Timothy Flamger. That's why he's a Night Owl champion, and that's why he's about to win again, and perhaps the biggest Night Owl win of his career.
Doing a little slide there out of the triangle. Yeah, very well done to him indeed. 19.2 second lead over Daly. Obviously those cars in between that had things happen to them, but very well done from you, sir. Phil Roberts is in for a DT. He's parked it, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, I think he's parked it, so he's given.
You know what? Jordan Daly, not bad for a night where you're relaxing.
He's just chilling. Hey, he's just chilling, mate.
That's the first podium for the renamed K-Tech and Horseflow team, and Jordan Daly captures the flag there. Matthew Malcolm, what a night. Once a silver driver, now a pro driver. He wanted a top 5, mate. You got a podium. Congratulations to Malk Racing. He's going to be over the moon with how last season was for them. From that defeat to this victory, Julian Vanbrugh comes across in P4. I would not worry about that too much for Julian. They're certainly in a position to continue to contest this championship. Emiliano Gigi comes across the line. They will win it in the silver class over Simoes, and Mata will eventually hit the line to finish third in the silver class.
Yeah, what a crazy race, Jesse. There was a few
Out of
bumps and
fuel.
bangs. Who? Tom Roberts?
Out of fuel.
Oh no. Can someone come round and just give him a little bit of a bump? If
Somebody can. It's technically illegal, but we've never penalized anybody for it because why would you penalize somebody for being kind?
If anyone is listening, has contact with a driver, or if your driver is listening, can you please just give him a nudge? He might be able to make it. I don't know if
I think he's going to be all right going downhill here.
But if you have finished your race, Jordan Daly, please push him.
Oh, several cars racing around him to the line. Tom Roberts doing everything in their power to be out of the way. Respect, of course. The hazard lights on that critical success Mercedes AMG, doing everything right here. He's going to get there eventually. Times like this, you wish you could go down there and give them just a little bit of a push. If you're wondering how this happens in racing, well, you do your pit strategy based on where you think the leader's gonna be, and sometimes you get it a lap or a half a lap short, and across the line.
Oh my God!
Here was Daly. Daly, International Assistance Daly came back all the way around to help Tom Roberts, but it just got there as he crossed the line. The results of the race confirmed. Of course, after the night that we've had, folks, pending any post-race penalties, we'll give you an update if there are any next week. Timothy Flamger wins it over Daly and Malcolm, your top 3. Julian Vanbrugh 4th, but with the fastest lap of the race, that gives them some bonus points. They're absolutely alive in this championship early on, despite the drama today. Rodriguez rounds out your top 5. Gigi wins it in silver over Simoes. Mata is third in the silver class. The rest of the results streaming across your screen. Mike Jones back in racing, 17th tonight. That's not bad at all. That's just about halfway up the field. And here is your silver standings only, confirming behind them, of course, Brooke and Boss, the top 5. Wow, what a race. Ted, what are your thoughts after 1 hour racing? Felt like a marathon, not a sprint here tonight.
It sure did, Jesse. We're used to small grids of just about 20 to 25 cars, and obviously that thins out towards the end of the season, but it's had a lot of cars to look at tonight. There's a few crashes, obviously, some that took a few people out of the race today, unfortunately, but there's things happen in racing, and people will complain, and that will happen. But you just got to submit your evidence towards the stewards for the post-race, and we'll find out what happens from there. But it was a very interesting race today as well. There was so many different people to watch, and I was very surprised that Vanbrugh didn't win it after all of that. But yeah, Flamger and Daly doing very well indeed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner of tonight's inaugural race in Season 17 at Suzuka. Almost out of nowhere, Timothy Flamger, tell us about your night.
Hey, guys. Apparently only a night owl can I win a race, and I have absolutely no idea how it happened.
Well, how did you get through it? There was incidents behind you, in front of you, pit stop mistakes. It was all kicking off. How'd you stay out of it in your car?
Dude, I don't know. It seemed like everybody in front of me just kind of had issues. Like Harry took out the fast Porsche. I don't know what happened to Vanbrugh, but Julian just stopped on track at one point.
He had like a wire that was giving him trouble in practice, and apparently it worked its way out in the race. He had to do a Control-Alt-Delete right there on the racetrack.
Oh my God. Well, that tops me. I was lap 9. I was heading into Degner 2, and my monitor went black, so I had to take
Oh,
that corner
man.
completely blind.
You survived. You win. The pit strategy on your side. You don't get involved into any major squabbles. You're already a night out champion, but you're leading the way again. How's it feel?
Oh, pretty happy. I was not expecting to win this one, especially after getting bottled in qualifying. But yeah, I'll take the points. This is great because the field is quite strong this time. It's going to be very hard to repeat.
It is, but you have the best shot of doing it now in what was a magnificent win today. And, well, you should absolutely be proud. You showed them how to get it done. Flamger, is there anybody you want to say hello to, you want to thank for this win here today?
I thank the good luck that allowed me to come home first when everybody else had bad luck.
Flamger out here keeping it real on Night Owl, all right? He says, I'm going to make sure I thank the RNG gods. But no, Flamger, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Thank you so much for coming back. We can't wait to get to Donington next week. What's your outlook for Donington? Obviously, you were decently strong here today. You had the ultimate pace and strategy, and in your own words, the luck to get it done. How's it look for Donnie?
Oh, I have no idea. I've yet to drive the McLaren there, so hopefully it works out. And I don't get a drive-through because that's very easy to do.
There you have it. It's a couple of drive-throughs out tonight, but we'll see how bad it will be at Donington next week. Flamger, thanks for coming to talk to us. Congratulations on the win. Ladies and gentlemen, Timothy Flamger, your winner in Pro, the first race here at Suzuka in Season 17. Moving on to our third place finisher and a driver that was looking for a top 5, just wanted some redemption for last year. I think you got it. Matthew Malcolm, how ecstatic are you on that podium tonight?
I mean, it was great, but I kind of feel bad for what happened with Zelch because I know he had more pace and just caught the slide at the wrong time, tried to correct it, and then obviously just whacked him off, but which is really unfortunate. But after from last season, I mean, going from potentially having so many issues on track and then technical issues from both ACC, I'm just very glad that I ended up getting a podium after all this.
Podium indeed. I mean, considering all the frustration, and I want this to be a lesson to anyone out there listening at home. You may not have been with us for the miniseries or Night Owl Season 16. Matthew Malcolm had a run of, I think you'd also agree, right? Horrible luck in the face of great pace, you're a great driver, and it just never came together. But you said in chat that this undoes all of the bad luck, all of the badness from the previous season.
Oh, it certainly does, because I mean, if you go back to even just the first race, that was my own fault. But then during the middle of the season, I was having issues where dry tires were switching to wets, then wets were switching to dries, and then at the final race, going into having such a great opportunity, and then coming up to that desync just completely ruined me. And I think the takeaway from that is just no matter what happens, you're just gonna have to keep pushing forward. And for me at least, I don't typically practice all that often, so I knew going into this race I have to start practicing a lot more, start finally looking into the cars, and that's what's got me. Just I think given more time, given more practice, and a little bit more luck, and then you'll probably end up being further and further up the grid.
Love to hear that. And Malcolm, finally, is there anybody you want to say hi to or thank for maybe sticking around, or maybe just anyone in your corner constantly telling you keep it up, keep going, and or maybe you want to thank luck like Flamker did?
I think I will thank the luck for a start, but I think if there's anybody who's been with me this entire time, it's Mike Redford. He's just been with me the entire time.
Let's
We've always raced against each
go!
other. We always stick together or anything like that. So I know it hasn't been the best race for him. I know he's not had great luck either, but he's getting there. I think another person to shout out is Bassina. I don't know if you've seen much of him, but he's obviously someone that he reached out to me after the season. He's just obviously was just looking for advice or anything like that, and I just able to help him out with just trying that, and he's actually getting faster, which is great to see.
That is absolutely awesome. We hope to see Adna back on the track sometime soon. He comes into the chat quite a bit and chats it up with us. We love to see Adna around regardless. Matthew Malcolm, congratulations on a podium for round number 1. Hopefully this sets a trend for the rest of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, the proud Scotsman, Matthew Malcolm, P3 today. Well, I don't know if we could complete the podium with Daly if he would prefer, but let me ask, Daly, you want to talk to us?
Hello.
There he is. Daly, we heard that you were a little bit banged up out there. You were just taking it easy. P2, not bad for a night where you're just kind of cruising around.
Didn't expect that at all. Yeah, just chilling out. I've kind of come back from an injury, still injured, but steady away. I'm not really. I can't really try as much as I want at the minute, so I made a last minute change to the car. Thought I'll drive something that I enjoy, and yeah, I somehow still ended up getting P2, which I'll take.
Well, we've seen a rash recently in RCI of drivers performing well, getting podiums, getting wins with actual physical injuries. We got the one driver in one of the weekly series that's still racing one-handed out there. You obviously have back injury. For anyone who's never had one of those, try turning the wheel and think about how much your back's actually moving when you're turning the wheel. It is a big issue, and somehow you still get a podium out of it despite the fact that you can't be as aggressive. So what changed in your driving style with the back injury?
Got myself a bit comfier, I suppose. Got a few more pillows. Nothing other than that. Just decided to relax. Like I say, I'd drive more aggressively. So there'd be odd times where you tense up and stuff. It's actually been affecting my leg as well, not just my back. So it's one of them. But yeah, I've just been taking it easy. I'm sat in a bit of a different position, more relaxed. Like I say, I'm driving. I don't even know how I pulled it off, but yeah, like I say, just more laid back, more chilled out, trying not to strain myself, get too tense. I have had to lower my strength on my wheel just for a little bit, just till I get back into it, but not by much, just enough to not really have to put that much effort in against it, I guess. But I enjoyed it.
Well, you're a two-time Night Out champion. You're obviously racing Flamger for another title. At this point, you're looking for your series tying third. Is it a possibility now after this finish, considering all the setbacks you had?
Oh, I don't know, because the strength of field is very good. There are a few guys in front of me that just had some unfortunes, which I didn't realise until when I come out of the pits, and I was third, just behind Kaneko. So I was like, oh, okay, someone must have messed up, and just plodded on. So I don't know. I guess there's a bit of luck in there. You're in my favour today. We'll see how it goes with the champ. I'm like I said, because of the injury and stuff, I'm not really looking at it like that. I just want to have a bit of fun, and where else better to do it than Niall?
There you go. Anybody you want to say hello to or thank?
My team, guys I were in K-Tech and OS4, and yeah, you guys for putting it on once again, another season of Niall.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. Jordan Daly, racing injured, still gets silver here today, confirming his championship contention. Flamger and Daly still going where they last left off. Daly, thanks for talking to us.
Cheers, guys.
P2 for Daly, Ted, and well, I think the overarching sort of winning strategy for today, strangely, was patience and perseverance today. The hard charging cars were the ones that had the struggles and the issues, even if they were out in front of the field. It was the cars that maybe were a little bit more patient, a little bit less on edge, ended up being the victors tonight.
Sure was, Jesse. And I think I've always said that. Even in like, you can take the endurance stuff, which is what these guys have done. Is just chill out and just relax, enjoy your race, and just focus on what you need to do and not what other people are doing. And yeah, that's just what they did. It's the same as the endurance. You just use the same sort of thing and just have a little bit of fun if you like. And that's what these guys did tonight. And they came out on top of everyone else. And that's the thing. If you race hard, you're going to end up having a hard impact with a wall, most likely. And we've seen that a few times tonight, which is very unfortunate. And obviously, we've seen some of the drivers get a little bit hot-headed with the, how they feel. But they can always post race report them towards the stewards, and the stewards will sort out and see who is at fault and give the penalties to who they think is in the wrong. But we'll just have to wait and see until next week to see if there is reports come through. But I do have a few partners to name off here. AK Esports wouldn't be able to do this without AK letting us have help us with the servers and stuff here over at RCI. And if you want to know any more about their services to do with any esports management or competitions, you can go to their website, akesports.it, in the description below as well. Digital motorsport, they have all the top brands that you need for sim racing, and you can find wheel rims to the whole rig, beginner to expert, anything you really need you can find over there. They've got a sim rig builder, so you can see what it looks like before you just buy it and build it in your home. You can find them in the description below as well. I think Driver 6-1 is the only one left, Jesse. That is very good. I think you've used it, a few of our staff have. They do driver coaching from one-on-one to full-on driver courses. You can they'll help you to unlock all your potential. They'll help you with your racecraft. They'll help you with the racing lines and what you should and shouldn't do with a race car in GT4 to GT3 to even the GT2s that we have in the game now. You can find their link down below as well. But how do you think, Jesse, the race went today?
Well, I think it was tough for a lot of the top talent, Ted. I really do. And I think some of them got punched in the mouth a little bit. And for some, that's going to leave them a little upset. Some are probably, some of them are a little sour, I would imagine, on top of that. But a great driver and a good driver are two different things. And I'll tell you the difference. A good driver can drive the car, but allows their emotions to get in the way. A great driver perseveres, shows up, and shows out. And that's the difference between winning championships and being an also-ran. And while it's super easy to let things get to you, drivers like Flamger, like Daly, don't let stuff get to them. That's why they end up in the right places at the right time. Folks, thank you all for being with us here. We're so happy to be back here for Night Owl Season 17. We'll be back at the same time next Saturday night at Donington Park for more Night Owl Series racing with the same very packed group of race cars. In between now and then, we will be back live for the finale of the GT2 Championship this coming Friday. And of course, Night Owl the very next day. Slow week here at RCI, but many championships are open to sign up for, including Monday Champ, including iRacing races, including one-offs, AMS2, WRC. We have a little bit of everything, and we hope that you join us. And one final partner before we sign off tonight, Ash Bibby has donated another membership to RCI TV to our very own broadcaster, Cormac Malloy, tonight. Who has thanked him preemptively. Thank you, Ash Bibby, for your continued support, both behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, in the race car, everything. Thank you so much for all that you do for us as well. It's been a crazy night. It's going to take a while, the rest of the weekend, I'd wager, to get through all of the melee. We'll be back here for you in 1 week's time. Ted Edwards, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Jesse Lee. And yeah, we'll see you in a week's time.